This is the Legal Broadcast Network. My guest is Vince Megna. He's a nationally recognized lemon law attorney with the firm Aiken Scoptur in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Vince recently won a $500,000 jury verdict in a semi-truck case. What's unusual is not only the size of the award, but that this case involved a semi-truck, as lemon laws in most states do not pertain to these types of cases. Vince, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be back.
Well, congratulations, Vince, and why don't you give us some of the particulars of this case?
Okay, and there are a lot of particulars, and it is an exciting case, especially because it involves a semi-truck. But before I talk about the semi-truck, the problem this truck had was it was purchased on September 20th of '07, and for 16 months, from November of '07 to February of '09, it had tremendous engine problems, a loss of power, low power, fuel injectors, EGR valves, plugged fuel filters. The check engine light would come on, the stop engine light would come on. It was backfiring, coughing, blowing black smoke, blowing white smoke, and it had a hard time making it up hills. It had a lot of difficulty with power. So, and it went into the shop at least between 10 and 16 times during that period for all these problems. And we sent out demand letters, and this was against Freightliner, and there was absolutely no response, nothing. And then we filed a lawsuit in federal court in the Western District of Wisconsin, and we tried the case just a week ago and got a big verdict. The truck, the client's portion is about $278,000, and then there's going to be another about $240,000 in attorney's fees. So it will be over $500,000. A little bigger than the last lemon law. But what's so important about this case is it is a truck. It's a semi-truck. And Wisconsin's really the only state in the United States that has a lemon law that applies to trucks. The only other state that even comes close is Texas, but that Texas lemon law is so mired into arbitration that it's virtually worthless. But the other 48 states, nothing. So truck drivers are really, really in a bad position. I've represented truck drivers over the years, over the last 20 years, but truck drivers around the country have no place to turn when their trucks become defective or they go down.
So you're talking about you're talking about the owner-operator here who owns his own truck and is carrying freight, for example, for another company.
Exactly. The owner-operator is the one who really gets taken to camp here, and we got to remember that everything we buy in America was delivered by a truck, whether it's a car, a TV at Best Buy, or if we want Q-tips at Walgreens. Those were delivered by a truck, and we're not taking care of our truck drivers, the owner-operators. They're just a tremendous disadvantage. I get calls from truck drivers all over the country, and there's nothing we can do. There's absolutely nothing we can do for them, and they go bankrupt. They go out of business. I mean, truck drivers are not millionaires. They're struggling out there and trying to make a living, and when they have a defective truck, there's just nothing they can do unless they bought it in Wisconsin. So everybody should buy their trucks here, and there'd be some good protection, but obviously that's not going to happen. So we do need some real focus on some help for people, for truck drivers, just the truck drivers. I know people get mad at truck drivers. They're slow. They block traffic, but they deliver everything we buy.
What, in this particular case, what is the value, for example, of the average semi-truck?
Well, this truck new cost $117,000. So, and that's they're usually around that price. and that doesn't include the trailer. But the cab, the semi cab, is about between 100 and 125,000 brand new. Of course, the used ones are going to be significantly less, but the truck driver puts out a lot of money, and payments are always at least $2,000 a month for a good length of time. And
it's even worse for the owner-operator, because if his truck is in the shop all the time, he's not working.
He's not working. Every time it's in the shop, he's losing money, but yet he still has to keep paying the licensing fees, the insurance fees, the workers' comp, whatever fees. And when it's in the shop for extended periods of time, it's just a virtual nightmare. And it was in this case.
Well, finally, wrapping it up, do you think this type of award here in Wisconsin would be like would show some other states that there is a need for some sort of remedy for these types of individuals and their semis?
I think absolutely. This case is so important because they're so few and far between where you get an award like this. It should draw attention that we have to give the truck drivers, the owner-operator, some type of law, some type of legal protection to go forward in their business. I mean, they fail all the time. They're out of business all the time. I mean, Michael Moore endorsed my first book. I mean, Michael Moore can come forward here. We've got to get some attention on this lack of law. I just can't believe it.
Vince Megna is my guest. He's a nationally recognized lemon law attorney with the firm Aiken Scoptur in Milwaukee. He also wrote the book Bring On Goliath. Vince, congratulations, and as always, it's a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you had me on the show, and we'll keep fighting this good cause.
I'm Scott Drake, and you're watching the Legal Broadcast Network.